kind of a lot to keep track of for dividing fractions. And there's kind of a special trick to this, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But these are the things you need to get down to start with. If you don't understand them right away, you will in a little bit. No common denominators, you should understand that. So that's automatically going to take away a step that you had to do for adding and subtracting. Just like the multiplying, we've got to have a straight up fraction, like a top number and a bottom number, like a fraction or an improper fraction. We cannot use mixed numbers or whole numbers, so we've got to make that conversion if we end up with one of those. The saying that I like, or the phrase I like for the dividing fractions, is the KCF, and it stands for keep, change, flip. And you're going to understand what that means if you don't already in a little bit. And I just like it because it kind of sounds like KFC, but we just got to flip these two letters around, so it makes it a little bit easier to remember, KCF. And then multiplying straight across. This might be a little confusing since we're talking about dividing, but again, this is something that you'll get in a second with these examples. So make sure that these are things that you get down so you can refer back to them. Alright, to start with for this first problem, 2/3 divided by 5/9. We need to format this problem correctly following what we have up here. We don't need common denominators, so we're okay there. We can't have mixed numbers or whole numbers. We don't. Okay? Keep it, change it, flip it. Here's what that means. I'm underneath each one of these parts, I've got fraction, symbol, fraction. I'm going to write it right here. The K goes here, C, F. This means we're going to keep the first fraction as 2/3. So I'll just rewrite it over here. The change underneath the division means I'm going to change that to a multiplication. And then the flip, it means I'm going to flip this other fraction around to what we call its reciprocal. Okay, that would be a nice word to put down. Anytime you do a flip, and I can put this off to the side here, flip is called reciprocal. And that's a word you're going to see quite a bit with fractions, the reciprocal of something. Okay, so flipping that 5/9 around is going to be 9/5. Now we have everything we need to answer this problem. Now it works like a multiplication problem. So if you want to start with, and I guess I could write this two different ways just so you could see it here. I'm kind of running out of room here, but we can do it. 2/3 times 9/5. If you like the cross division that we've done before, we can do that here. 3 divided by 3, or 3 goes into both 9 and 3, so I could go 1, 3. Okay, 9 divided by 3 is 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now I can multiply straight across. 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 5 is 5, 6/5. Let's change that back to a mixed number so it makes a little bit more sense. 6/5 is going to be 1 and 1/5. Okay. If you didn't do the cross division, 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 goes into 18 once with 3 left over. So 1 3/15. Divide both of those by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. I still end up with 1 1/5. Alright, 1/5 divided by 4 1/2. Before we start this problem, we've got to have no mixed numbers or wholes. Okay, which means that I need to change 4 1/2 into its fractional form, or into an improper fraction. 4 groups of 2 is going to be 8, plus our extra 1/2 is going to be 9/2. So I need to replace 4 1/2 with 9/2. Okay. Once I've done that, now my problem is formatted correctly. Now I can do my keep it, change it, flip it. So that would be 1/5 times, that's the change, and then flip that 2/9. I'm only going to write this once because I can't do any of that cross division here. Nothing goes into 1 and 9 besides 1. Nothing goes into 5 and 2 except for 1. Okay, so I'll go straight across, 2, and 45. I don't believe that you can reduce that. So 2/45 is our final answer. All right, 9/10 divided by 15. Okay, we got to format this correctly here. I can't have any mixed numbers or whole numbers. So I'm going to change 15 to 15 over 1. Now I can do my keep it, change it, flip it. Keep the 9/10, change the sign, flip it around. Here's my problem. Looks like I can do some cross division if you want to here, so I'll write this twice. My cross division would be these two right here. 3 goes into both of those. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Now this will make my problem a lot simpler. 3 times 1 is 3. 10 times 5 is 50. If you're not using the cross multiplication, that's fine, or the cross division, that's fine. 9 times 1 is 9. 10 times 15, I believe, is 150. Okay. Here's where we're going to probably have to do some reducing to get it down to what we had here. If 3 goes into both of those, I know. So if I do 9 divided by 3, I get 3. 150 into 3 pieces would be 50, 50, and 50, so that should be 50. And I also get 3/50 for my answer. All right, last one before you do some on your own here. We've got 6 divided by 3 4/5. Okay, 6 divided by 3 4/5. So we got to format this right, meaning we can't have any whole numbers and we can't have any mixed numbers. So the 6 is easy. That's just 6 over 1. And let's see here. This would be pretty easy too. 3 groups of 5 is 15. 15 plus 4 is going to be 19. Okay. Now we can do our keep it, change it, flip it. So we've got 6 over 1 times 5 over 19. Okay. Now I just need to multiply straight across because it doesn't look like I can do any of that cross division or reduce anything down. So it looks like I'm just going to have 30 and I'm going to have 19. 19 goes into 30. We're going to change this to a mixed number. 19 goes into 30 looks like once. Let's see. 30 minus 19 would then be 11. 1 and 11/19. Here are the 4 practice problems that I would like you to focus on. If you're feeling pretty good and you're feeling pretty comfortable, go ahead and try them. Watch the video to check and make sure you're correct. If you're still a little hesitant on this, you can always just follow along with the example problems until you get comfortable with this. Now would be a good time to pause the video here, try the problems out, and see how you did, or just continue the video and go over the problems together to figure it out. First problem here, 1/2 divided by 5/6. We're looking good as far as just having fractions, so we don't have to do anything there. We do need to work on the keep it, change it, flip it. Keep it, change it, flip it would be 1/2. Change would be times, and then we've got 6/5. I will write this one twice because it looks like we can do some cross division here. I'll do the cross division on this one. 2 goes into both of these. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. 3/5, no reducing necessary. Over here, if you just kept it like this, 6. 2 times 5 is 10. Reduce this down. 2 goes into both of these, so if I divide both of them by 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 3/5 is your answer. Alright, I went ahead and formatted this problem correctly how it needs to be. 3/8 divided by 10, we can't have this whole number when we're working with fractions, so I got to change this to a fraction. So now we've got 3/8 divided by 10 over 1. Now we have it how we want it, and we need to do the keep it, change it, flip it. If I do that, I'm going to end up with 3/8, change would be times, and then 1 over 10. I don't believe we can do any cross division, so I'll just keep it here. 3 times 1 would be 3. 8 times 10 would be 80. 3/80ths would be your answer. Alright, I've got 1 1/5 divided by 4/6. This was the problem, so I had to change this to an improper fraction. So we have a top and a bottom here. 1 times 5 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 6/5. Okay. Now we can do the keep it, change it, flip it. 6/5. Change the sign to times. Flip around the 6/4, or the 4/6. So now the reciprocal is 6/4. Now I'll write this twice because it looks like we can do some cross division here. Okay. These we can do the cross division with because 2 goes into both of those. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Let's work straight across here. 3 times 6 would be 18. 5 times 2 would be 10. Alright, we got to do some more with this here. This is an improper fraction. Let's change it back to a mixed number. 10 goes into 18 once, and there would be 8 left over. I can reduce the 8/10 to 1, and I can divide both of those by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. My answer is 1 4/5. If I use this over here, 6 times 6 is 36. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 goes into 36. It's got to be 1 because 2 would be 40. So it looks like 1 time. Let's see. What would that be? 16 left over. 36 divided by 20 would be 16 out of 20. Now we need to reduce this down. Looks to me like the biggest number that goes into both of these would be 4. So that would be division of 4, division of 4. So my answer is going to be 1, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 1 4/5. Alright, last problem here. We have our 4 wholes and our 2 2/3, and we're dividing those. We got a problem with both of these because for both of these we need to change them into top over bottom fractions. 4 is just 4 over 1. 2 2/3, we'd have 2 groups of 3, which would be 6. Add on the 2/3, which would be 8. 8/3. Here's how we need to have it. Now we need to do the keep it, change it, flip it. We have 4 over 1 is the keep, the change is the times, and the flip is the 3/8. This looks like we can do some cross division, so I'll write it twice so you can see. Cross division would be here. Looks to me like 4 goes into both of these. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. I go straight across. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 3/2 is the same thing as 2 goes into 3 once. 1 1/2. Over here, 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 8 is 8. Improper fraction, so we have to change it to a mixed number, so it makes more sense. 8 goes into 12 one time. There would be 4 left over. Let's reduce 4/8. 4/8, you should just be able to look at that and tell that 4/8 would be exactly 1/2.